United. Both sides not doing very well at the moment. But someone who is doing very well is Thomas Tuchel and his Chelsea side. Another victory for him as well and the Blues. Alongside me, Kevin Nolan, as well as Jamie O'Hara. Gents, I think we should just jump straight into it, don't we? The Reece James show here today, Jamie. He's been absolutely sensational. Against Norwich City, he's got one of the most beautiful goals as well in that 7-0 win. Today, another screamer here today. It's hard to find a fault. And it's crazy to think that he's only 21 years old.
Yeah, crazy. Another top performance from him. He's so good in the box. He's almost, he reminds me very much of like David Beckham in and around the box. His technique, both feet. I mean, this is brilliant from Callum Hudson-Odoi. And then here, the composure. And then just to think, you know what? I can strike with both feet. I'm going to hit that with my left. The technique of it is sensational. And it's absolute rocket foot into the top corner. And yeah, absolutely brilliant from him today. Really good.
Kevin, how could Newcastle have done this better? Because we saw in the first half just how resolute Newcastle was, but within a span of minutes, once everything kicked off, Newcastle just seemed to have fallen apart.
Yeah, I mean, in the first half, you know, we praised Newcastle for the defensive, you know, stability, the way they went about the game, the way they went about the first half. But we were very worried that, you know, could they sustain that for the second half? And when you've got someone of this lad's quality who can go on both right and left foot, because he looks just comfortable on both. I mean, that's an unbelievable strike. You know, let me tell you how hard that is to do. You know, and just to make sense of it and the way it goes, it flies. It's a rocket, and he's done it with both his right and left foot today. But yeah, going back to Newcastle were. I thought, you know, I spoke about, you know, the transition, and he just never got going. He never caused Chelsea enough problems. He never gave them anything where they thought we can't go and just, you know, sustain attack after attack. And when you give someone of their quality, Chelsea and the players they have, the time around the box, when you give them, you know, attack after attack, they're going to, in the end, they're going to punish you, and that's what Chelsea did. And then you couldn't see Newcastle for, you know, if they would have been playing till tomorrow, getting back into the game. So worrying times for Newcastle. There's a big couple of weeks. Well, there's a big week coming up for them, because then they go into the international break. So yeah, very worrying times, and I think there'll be a few worried people behind the scenes this evening.
The thing is, though, about Newcastle, they've now conceded 5 goals now in the last 15 minutes of the second half. And only Norwich City have conceded more so far this season in the Premier League. As a coach, Kevin, I mean, just how much is weighed on those last 15 minutes? How crucial are those final few moments?
Yeah, I mean, they're the key moments, because you're either holding on, you could be holding on to a lead, you could be trying to get a draw out of the game, or you know, you want to sort of push on and win the game. But you know, I mean, that's quite worrying for the Newcastle fans to hear that, and for Newcastle, because you know, the only other team who are in and around them are Norwich, and everyone's saying how bad they've been this year. So that's worrying times. As a coach, that's something which whoever's going to be coming in next, or if it's Graham Jones who's going to be taking them forward at the minute, he should be looking at that, thinking, right, we have to stop, you know, we have to stop that rut, and clean sheets is a massive thing in the game, and at this minute in time, they don't look like they can keep on.
But don't Kev, like, I look at Newcastle and I think they put so much energy into defending, you know, like they're putting so much into it that as the game wears on, you're going to end up conceding because they're knackered. You know, they're working so hard in out of possession to try and stop teams from scoring, and then when they get the ball, they give it away. So then they're defending again. Then they win it back and they give it away again. In the end, that gets on top of you. So teams eventually will just break you down, and that's what you saw in the second half of Chelsea. Is you can't defend for 90 minutes. You have to try and come out and attack. You have to try and create chances and get up the pitch and get hold of the ball. I mean, Newcastle are big. They're in big problems. They could go down.
Yeah, I'm worried, Jamie, looking at them. You know, we played them early on in the season. We beat them up there, and you know, obviously the new ownership, and you're looking at you know, Graham Jones now, and he's saying that he's been, you know, he's had them in all week working on it. But as you said, it's what you do with the ball. You know, and I think at this moment in time, it's not enough, you know, just to relying on Sam Maximin just to get you up the pitch, and to Callum Wilson to maybe score off, you know, because let's be honest, he scored a ridiculous goal last week, a fantastic goal, you know, and we're all praising him. But you know, if it's not him or Sam Maximum, there's no one else. It doesn't look like they can create, and I think that's the biggest problem. They've got to find a way within that squad, and because they've got some good quality players going forward. You know, there's a Willocks. You know, you've got obviously Almiron. So there's other players, and they've got to step up. You know, it can't just be all about defending, as you say. It's got to be the transition into attacking and keeping the ball. But they just didn't do that well enough today, and that's why Chelsea, you know, when you look back on it, they strolled the game really. You know, first half everyone would have been happy. Chelsea would have been. They come out and looked a bit shaky, if you're being honest. You know, trying snatching at things and taking shots when they shouldn't have really, you know, should have made the extra pass. But for me, it was only a matter of time. And once they broke the deadlock, then it could, you know, if Chelsea would have went really after them, it could have been worse than 3, I think.
Yeah, things do seem very bleak for Newcastle at the moment, but if there is a positive, Martin Dubravka is fit, based on what Graham Jones has said. He has been training, while today's game maybe have come a little bit too early for him, but he can be a huge positive going forward as well. That's a bit of a positivity, I guess, for Newcastle. But let's have a look at Carl Darlow there, who gave away that penalty here today. It's not the first time he's ever done that, and I don't think anyone would argue with this decision. This is just a clear penalty, isn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it's great movement from Havertz. You know, they're playing with confidence now, and I said that's what Chelsea needed to do: find the gaps, find them little key passes, and once they open the deadlock, all of a sudden then the spaces started to appear. I mean, it's a stonewall penalty. He's been clever, Havertz. It's all about the run, but defensively, Lascelles getting off the back of him again, running in behind. I mean, they're miles off it, Newcastle. They're miles off it. You know, the new owners are coming in, they want to put money into it, but they need to pick up some results with the squad of players that they've got. It's not good enough. You know, Kev talked about Norwich. These are as bad as Norwich. They get beat every week. It's not good enough. Nowhere near it.
Well, just one final one from me then, because we do have to turn our attention over to the Spurs-Manchester United game. Kevin, I mean, at this point, Newcastle is in a bit of a mess. We know that they are going through this sort of rebuilding phase with the new owners. How quickly do they need to get a permanent manager? How risky is it the longer that you wait for that permanent manager? Because an interim manager can't really stamp their style in. It's really more about damage limitations. And the tough fixtures until January is pretty crazy. They can't do anything in the market until the January window opens. Do they have to really press the urgent button on finding a permanent manager, Kevin?
Yeah, I think they need someone who's going to direct the club in the right way. But I think the biggest thing about this is that I think they got in, and I don't think they really thought they were going to get in as quickly as they did. So I don't think they've had a plan from when they got in, from day one. So now they're sort of trying to play catch up. And I think what the most important thing is now is they get the plan right. And once they get the plan right, then they appoint a manager who's going to get them out of this current situation and start leading them into the success what they want 4 or 5 years down the line. This manager might not be the one who takes them in 3 years' time, but it's the one who takes them for the next 2 years, who gets them, keeps them up this year, starts building a squad which is going to then be capable of challenging and getting themselves into Europe in the next 2 to 3 years. But you know, there's not many people out there who've got to have the experience to be able to get out of a relegation fight in the Premier League. It's not as easy if you just bring in 5, 6 different players in January. It's about embedding them into a squad. So, how far will they be off come January? There's massive decisions to be made at the club in the next coming weeks. But the appointment of a permanent manager has got to be the right one. You can't just think because they've had a good, you know, and they've got a good CV abroad, or they're a big name that's going to come in and change things right away. That doesn't happen. Certainly not in the Premier League. And when we're not being able to buy anybody until January, I mean, who's going to go to a bottom 3 club, Jamie? You know yourself, it's tough. You're not going to get the top players from the Premier League.
Maybe boys.
Don't you start shouting about our boss, you. But you know, yeah. I mean, look. I mean, well, in my eyes, if you're thinking about that, you know, they're the type of people who have been in them situations. So it's a massive appointment, you know, and it's got to be someone who you can trust to come in, to be able to spend a bit of money and to be able to regalvanise this squad, because at this moment in time it's looking very, very worrying.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to get worse for Newcastle before it gets better, isn't it? But thanks, gents, for joining us here on the show. It's been absolutely fantastic having you both. Unfortunately, it's not a day for Newcastle here today. But Jamie's going to be staying on for the next one as we say goodbye to Kevin. So thanks again to both our gents for this one. And to our viewers at home, though, don't go anywhere. The big one is coming up in 15 minutes or so. Plenty to look forward to with Jamie O'Hara once again, as well as Michael Brown. For all your match highlights, for all the key moments, AstroGo is where you want to be. Till next time, my name is Michelle. Bye-bye.